Yes. Perfect. So first, just tell me who you are, where you are, what you do. Tell me about your family. Just give us some bio information.
Okay. Well, I pastor the South Suburban Vineyard Church here in the South Suburbs of Chicago. So I'm in Flossmoor, Illinois. The church in Flossmoor. We live just one town over in Homewood.
Okay.
And so my wife, Shannon, and I co-pastor this church. We co-lead pastor the church. We have 4 boys.
No.
Yeah, 4 boys. From oldest is 12, 9, 6, and 3.
You are kidding me.
No.
12, 9, 6, and 3. All 3 years apart?
Yep.
Your wife, she must be the princess.
She's a superwoman is what she is.
Honestly. That's so fun. Oh, when you send me all your stuff, I would love to see a picture of the boys.
Oh, I'll send you a picture of them.
Oh, that's so fun. Wow. So y'all have your hands full. And how long have you been at your church?
So we just celebrated 10 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're primarily preaching?
I do most of the preaching, but my wife preaches from time to time, and we have some of our other pastors and leaders do some of the preaching. But I do the lion's share of the preaching here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I don't know if you watched the intro video, but basically my desire is to just have conversation partners around a response to Ahmaud Arbery. And so the thing I keep saying is Austin Channing Brown, who's one of the women that I follow and read, she says that doing nothing is no longer an option. And I think particularly she's speaking to white Christians.
Okay.
And so what I've been saying is this is my something, to publish these interviews on all my platforms, to use whatever platform God has given me to broadcast the stories and the perspectives of men and women that I know who are leaders, who are Christians, who would be willing to just dialogue with me. So this is my something. That's what I'm doing. And Rachel connected me to you, and I've heard so much about you. So your reputation precedes you. So thank you.
You heard good things or?
Really good things.
You never know. I always have to ask. You never know.
really good things.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So first, can we just start? Can you just give me your response to the murder of Ahmaud? The question I've been asking is, what's the first thing that you felt, that you thought, and then that you did? So just kind of, what was your response initially?
I think my initial response was, I don't know, sadness was probably the best word to describe. I don't think I'm shocked anymore. I was disappointed. And as a person who is a pastor, the person who serves the National Vineyard, particularly in this realm of diversity and racial unity, I know part of the sadness and the weight of this, part of it has something to do with the actual event and the tragic nature of the event. But I think my body and my emotions process all the conversations and all the ways that something like this disrupts not my life and the life of those who do this sort of work. That makes sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So without even consciously thinking that, I feel like the weight of what comes behind a high profile event like that just kind of arrests my spirit and my soul and even my body in some ways that it's kind of hard to describe.
Yeah.
And so I know that lots of conversations were going to have to be had. I know that this is going to impact how I communicate with my church, how I interact with the Vineyard movement. And because people look to Charles and myself and several others for some leadership and guidance on this, it kind of hits a little differently, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it impacted how you lead or how you engage people in conversations. Can you say more about that from as a pastor?
Well, my life's work is I wouldn't say centered on this, but a big part of of my life's work, particularly in ministry, as a pastor of a intentionally multicultural, multi-ethnic church that doesn't shy away from dealing with issues concerning race and class and all this sort of stuff. So, I am one who tries to bake that in just about any sermon that I can, just because I feel like that's kind of central to what to the message, right? And to the
Yeah. So when you say life's work, do you mean the fight for racial justice? How would you say it? Like, how would you define your life's work?
I would define my life's work vocationally as a pastor, but the vision and the mission that we are on here at the South Suburban Vineyard is a mission to um, create a diverse place where different kinds of people can come and not just get Christian education, but get a social education.
Wow.
We call our church a love university, and we say it's a place where you get schooled in the fine art of loving people you don't choose, right?
Oh, I love that.
So the point of what we do here, a lot of people pursue diversity because for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people just feel like we just kind of need to look good in the picture when we take a picture together, right? But we believe that we've been sent to all the world to make disciples. And we don't do that well if we don't value other kinds of people. And so most of us, if left to ourselves, will lead pretty homogeneous lives, right?
Yes.
So I feel like if we have a responsibility in the Christian church, as far as I'm concerned, to create a place that celebrates and welcomes and attracts diversity. Not so that we can look good in the picture, but so that we can get real comfortable with difference and learn to value different kinds of people, so that when we leave this place and go to the real mission field, our work, our schools, in the marketplace, we see value in places where we hadn't seen it before, right?
Wow.
And so that's when I say my life's work. My life's work is I've been given stewardship over a community of people, different kinds of people, but I also serve on the national executive team for Vineyard USA. And so part of what my roles and responsibilities are nationally is to help make our movement a more meaningfully diverse place. As you know, our movement is majority white. And so it's going to take some work, and it has taken work, to move us from a place where that's our center to a more multicultural, multi-ethnic center. And so when I say my life's work, I mean that in general sense, right? So these things, these values aren't far from whatever I'm talking about, because I can see it everywhere. And so it's not hard for me to get into a mode where I'm talking about that. It's just that in moments like this, a tragic occurrence is kind of the center of the conversation. And we are lamenting and we are calling people higher and calling them into a place where they almost got to pick a side on this, almost got to figure out, like, I guess I'm not causing people to pick a side, but I feel like, to your point earlier, that silence, in a sense, is a side. You've chosen a side more.
That's right.
And so I am totally against forcing people to say stuff and forcing people to come out and you need to say something and you need to post this and you need to share this. I am totally opposed to that, because that sort of bullying and that sort of pressure, to me, isn't meaningful beyond a few clicks, right? I'm mostly trying to do the slow, long work of making a case for the fact that there are huge racial inequities in the world, that our white brothers and sisters have gotten a centuries-long head start in America. Yeah. And those who feel like we are living in a post-racial world need to reckon with the fact that that gap will never be closed. And the evidences of that gap are numerous. Ahmaud Arbery and his situation is one of the most recent ones.
Right.
And so again, I don't like the bullying. I don't like to try to force people to stand with us or share this or speak up. I think there is something noble and something righteous about standing up and speaking up, but it is not my job to try to force somebody to stand with us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.